My mom accidentally poisoned half our neighborhood through the church potluck. I was 9 when my mom decided to make her famous chocolate cake for Street Mary's annual potluck. She'd been bragging about this recipe for weeks, saying it was going to put Mrs. Wilson's dry casserole to shame once and for all. The rivalry between them had been brewing since the Christmas cookie contest 3 years prior. Mrs. Wilson took home first place with store-bought sugar cookies she claimed were homemade. Mom never forgot that betrayal. So when Father Murphy announced the spring potluck, Mom saw her chance for redemption. She spent days perfecting her chocolate cake recipe, testing different frostings on our neighbors, until Mr. Thompson started avoiding our house entirely. The morning of the event, she's in the kitchen at 6 a.m., hair in curlers, apron tied tight, mixing batter like her life depends on it. The whole house smells like cocoa and determination. "Sweetie, grab the vanilla from the pantry," she calls out, not looking up from her mixing bowl. "Top shelf, behind the flour." I'm half asleep, stumbling around in my pajamas, reaching up to the top shelf where Dad keeps all his mysterious bottles. I grab what looks right and hand it to her without really checking the label. She dumps the whole bottle in without looking, too focused on getting the consistency perfect. "This is going to be legendary," she mutters, adding extra chocolate chips for good measure. The cake turns out absolutely perfect. 3 layers of pure chocolate heaven, fluffy and rich, with that signature ganache frosting Mom spent years perfecting. She's practically glowing with pride as she carefully transports it to the church. At the potluck, the fellowship hall is packed. Every church family brought their best dish, but Mom's cake is definitely the star attraction. The line for dessert wraps around the entire room. Father Murphy takes 3 slices, complimenting Mom loudly enough for Mrs. Wilson to hear from across the room. The choir director can't stop talking about the unique flavor profile. Even the notoriously picky church organist asks for the recipe. My mom's basking in all the compliments, shooting triumphant looks at Mrs. Wilson, who's standing alone next to her sad potato salad that nobody's touching. About 30 minutes later, things start getting weird. Mrs. Garcia begins giggling uncontrollably during Father Murphy's blessing over the food. At first, people think she's just happy, but the giggles turn into full-blown hysterics. Then, Father Murphy starts telling inappropriate jokes during his speech about church fundraising. Nothing offensive, just really strange timing for someone discussing the new choir robes budget. The church organist abandons her usual hymns and starts playing Yellow Submarine with surprising enthusiasm. The youth group leader begins an impromptu philosophical discussion about whether hot dogs are sandwiches. Within an hour, half the congregation is either laughing hysteriously at absolutely nothing or completely zonked out in the pews. The church ladies are having deep conversations about whether God prefers cats or dogs, while the deacons debate the spiritual significance of different pizza toppings. Thompson keeps staring at her hands like she's seeing them for the first time. The Sunday school teacher is convinced the fellowship hall carpet is trying to communicate with her through its patterns. Mom starts getting nervous when she notices people acting strange, but she's still riding high on all the cake compliments. "Maybe everyone's just really happy," she whispers to me. Then Mrs. Wilson approaches us, moving very slowly and deliberately. "Your cake," she says, eyes wide and slightly unfocused, "is absolutely magical. I mean that literally. I think I can taste colors." That's when Mom starts panicking. She pulls me aside, gripping my shoulders. "What exactly did you grab from the pantry this morning? Show me the bottle." I lead her to our kitchen and point to the empty bottle sitting on the counter. Mom picks it up, reads the label, and her face goes completely white. The bottle has Dad's handwritten label: CBD divided by THC tincture, back pain, 1 dropper equals 1 dose. Mom had just dosed the entire street, Mary's congregation, with enough cannabis to sedate a small village, and the youth pastor was currently convinced he was melting into his chair.